Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
On this episode of Audiobook Club, we head to Brighton on England's pebbly south coast to learn about the true nature of seagulls.
The sky was grey and the sea was even greyer. The wind was blowing in little gusts around me and rainfall seemed inevitable. I had sat on this bench many times over the past 6 months. It was the place I always escaped to when I wanted a bit of solitude. I sometimes brought a bit of cake or a slice of bread out with me and fed some crumbs to the seagulls and the pigeons. I wasn't so keen on the seagulls. Most of them seemed to be bullies and their voices sounded angry and accusing. I think they spoke mainly in lies. Give us some cake. I haven't eaten for months, mate. I've got 10 kids to feed. Why did you throw it to that manky pigeon? Jesus, not more crust. I'll report you to the RSPB. That sort of thing.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Audiobook Club, the podcast that offers up audiobook recommendations for discerning punters like you. Joining me as ever, my partner in crime is Matt Layton. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Steve. This one's perfectly in the centre of our Venn diagram, I think.
Yeah.
You obviously have an encyclopedic knowledge of British comedy, and this is written by British comedy royalty, Bob Mortimer. We're going to read the Hotel Avocado. And the other thing is, of course, it sort of advertises itself as a whodunit, which is, my favourite genre. So let's hope that we both enjoyed this one.
We are literally men with Ven. Yes. You have been accosted by a seagull, by the way. I meant to ask you.
Do you know what? In Australia, they call them chip chook. Chook being a general word for chickens, but they basically call them chip chickens, chip chooks, because you can't have fish and chips on the beach in Australia without the seagulls coming down and stealing your chips.
That's so well observed down there. Why can't we do that here?
Yes, indeed. All right, here we go. Our usual way of looking at these things, and I'm very much looking forward to this, but I'm going to need your help. So we're going to do it in the usual 3 stages. We'll have a look at who the author is, and then we are going to see what we thought of the book itself, and then examine what the audiobook brings to the party, if anything. So, and what I normally do is start off by relying stupidly on Wikipedia. But of course, you have a passion for this type of thing. So I'm going to do the Wikipedia paragraph, and then you're going to say about Bob Mortimer, the author, and then you're going to tell us what he's really like. So, Robert Rennick Mortimer, born 23rd May 1959, is an English comedian, author, television presenter, and actor. He is known for his work with Vic Reeves as part of their Vic and Bob double act, and more recently, the Mortimer and Whitehouse Gone Fishing series. He also appeared on panel shows such as Would I Lie to You and Taskmaster. Right. Well, that's what it says. That's what it says on the tin, Steve. You're a bit of a fan, aren't you?
Well, his views, the number of YouTube views he racks up for his Would I Lie to You compilations, where he has to come out with the stories. If you've seen Would I Lie to You, you have to tell a story, and then the rest of the panel the opposing panel have to guess if you're lying or telling the truth or not. He is absolutely fantastic. I recommend Chris Rea popping an egg in his bath for him. That was very funny, and he's doing his own dentistry. Anyway, that aside, Vic and Bob and Bob Mortimer in particular, their style of comedy, their surreal style of comedy is just timeless, and it reads out the body of work that this pair have done. 1989, big night out on Channel 4 with Graham Lister. That's who he played, Judge Nutmeg, the man with a stick. of course, as well. I don't think Bob Mortimer was the man with a stick, actually, thinking about it, but he was certainly Graham Lister. Smell of Reeves and Mortimer, 1993. Shooting Stars, remember that? Oh, they should bring that. Well, bring it back. You can't keep bringing things back all the time. Can't live in the past. But that was brilliant.
Hold on, Steve. Right, let's go back a step. So remember, we've got some people who are discovering British comedy through us for other parts of the world. Vic Reeves, as you said already, it's Vic Reeves' big night out, and Bob Mortimer was involved. The style of comedy is, surreal is a great word. There's one point in this book where Bob Mortimer's character in the book is dreaming that he's walking down the road with a 6-foot-tall box of washing detergent, and people are congratulating him. It's that kind of really surreal, odd dynamic, isn't it? How would you describe... What's the difference, for example, between The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer and Shooting Stars, and what are the good bits about both of them?
Well, to be honest, there's a golden thread between both of those shows. The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer is basically Shooting Stars without the panel show game element on it. Okay,
so Shooting Stars is a panel show, and The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer is just them being funny.
It's well, you say it's not really a sketch show, but it's very loose. Do you know what? I keep coming back to Morecambe and Wise, and I see them as like a real modern day Morecambe and Wise. So Morecambe and Wise were massive back in the 60s and the 70s. It was family fun. This pair, some of their stuff was, of course, near the knuckle and what have you, but they could you quite happily laugh at it as a kid because it's so outlandish. One of the sketches on The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer was a takeoff of MasterChef with Lloyd Grossman, the original MasterChef. Showing Vic Reeves dressed as Lloyd Grossman with a massive grey forehead, and he used to go to each table in MasterChef to look at their dishes by floating in the air to the sound of a funereal church bell. It's very, very different kind of humour. And obviously I think you need to go and watch it because you should be guffawing with laughter, because as you should be. I'm obviously not telling it right. But Shooting Stars was them subjecting their humour to regular celebrities, if you can have a regular celebrity. Larry Hagman was on an episode of Shooting Stars, and clearly 5 minutes in, he thought, what the hell has my agent signed me up to here? And he does say those words to that effect during the episode. But Shooting Stars, again, sort of very sort of surrealist. There's been nothing like it before or since on that one.
So I can remember one round of it. I wasn't a huge fan. I was aware of it. It was this weird thing where it was sort of the tradition that, as you say, goes back to ITV's, headline. Where is it? ITV? They were on ITV a lot, weren't they? Morecambe and Wise. But that history can trace back right to the musicals, can't it? The whole people doing sketches and mucking about.
Yes, right to the musicals. Nothing could top the musicals. The music halls, sorry.
There was sort of a dark 90s, well, I thought almost sinister edge to it.
Some of their stuff was, yeah. No, absolutely. Really near the knuckle. I mean, they did a few things that were not their regular sketch show. Catterick, if you get a chance to watch that, was very good. One other thing they did do was a sitcom which doesn't get talked about very much in 2014 called House of Fools, which had which one of Matt Berry's early roles, well, sort of semi-early roles in that, and there was Angela Sapathimu, who is Dan Skinner, who does a brilliant podcast called Brian and Roger. If you haven't tried it yet, go try.
After this.
After this. But House of Fools, again, was brilliant. Just basically Vic and Bob living together in a flat sort of thing and rubbing each other the wrong way.
So in terms of their sense of humour, I gave myself a little treat. I've given myself a little bit here. Further down the Wikipedia page, it said, In 1986, Mortimer went to the Goldsmiths Tavern in New Cross, London, to see a new show by the comedian Vic Reeves. Mortimer was impressed by the performance, particularly by the character Tappy Lappy, which was Reeves attempting to tap dance while wearing a Brian Ferry mask and planks on his feet.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Kind of sums it up, doesn't it? And then since I've been away, and I want to know what this is like because I haven't seen it. He's kind of rebranded, started something new. This gone fishing thing. He goes fishing now. How does that make good television?
Well, it's a brilliant watch. It's very, very gentle. So basically, Paul Whitehouse and Bob Mortimer, just a bit about both of their personal lives. They both had significant heart issues, basically. I think they started making the series both grateful to be alive, to be honest with you. Actually, Bob Mortimer had to be admitted to hospital and quickly got married the day he was admitted because he wasn't sure if he was going to come out again. And so that's where that show was born from, because fishing is a good way of recovering from a heart attack or a heart issue. So that's how that came apart. And actually,
so Paul Whitehouse, a really funny person as well, has been mentioned here before as one of the brains behind the Fast Show and comedic partner of Harry Enfield. But it's basically it's two old men fishing. How's that going to be any good?
It's what they say. It's all about the conversation. You said they should say like a podcast reviewing audiobooks really shouldn't work, but it's about the amazing dynamic we have, and people are so compelled to listen to us right to the end, aren't they? Yeah.
So like us, but funny. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Gone fishing with a PH at the start. You know what I mean? That's us. Spammers. That's what we are. For you cybersecurity fans out there.
There are lots of them. There are lots of them. All right, so I think we've established who Bob Mortimer is. He's a British institution, but he's a bit weird, and the humour is surreal and dark. And I think that comes up in the book. This is actually...
I don't think he is weird. I think the humour is very surreal, but yeah, I think he's... I like him.
Noted. We've missed the first book in this series. The book we're reading is The Hotel Avocado. It's a follow-up to The Satsuma Complex, clearly a fruit-based series of books. We missed that, but I didn't feel I'd missed out, and I'm going to let the book do the heavy lifting for me, because there's a great upsum of what happened in book one and where we are now in chapter one. So I didn't feel I was missing out at any point.
The last time you heard from me would be around 6 months ago in 2010, when I was sat on a seafront bench in Brighton with my girlfriend Emily, my grumpy next-door neighbour Grace, and her sheepdoggish dog Lasso. I was fending off their suggestion that we all move to Brighton together and help Emily run her recently deceased father's hotel. As you know, I'm something of a shithouse, so the prospect of abandoning my legal career and moving away from Peckham filled me with dread, panic and anxiety.
So not only do you get what's happened, you get a general impression of Gary's personality. And I have to say, at that point, as someone who is aware of Bob Mortimer, who used to be on those weird programs on the telly and now does fishing, and now his main character in his book is a bloke who is sort of settled and quietly happy in his life, working as a legal assistant in London, and he has a grey suit, and he doesn't sound very cheerful, and he calls himself Shithouse, which we'll come back to later. I wasn't optimistic at this point.
I think it feels like we're on different wavelengths, maybe in terms of the humour. For me, this book, when I started listening to it, and the early passages of Bob Mortimer, reading the part of Gary, was that this is not such a leap from Bob Mortimer's humour, the way he talks, what he talks about, the stuff that he does even right now on YouTube or whatever. And it seems like it's just like a thriller, but told in a very Bob Mortimer way. And now it's the analogies, the language, the list of things, like this person was carrying this, and this, like American space food and wadding. The accent helps.
Well, I would say at this point I had the feeling, oh my goodness, it's another TV presenter who thinks he's Richard Osman, who's written a series of murder novels that have been bought up by Steven Spielberg and being made into films at the moment, starring Helen Mirren and Pierce Brosnan and Sir Ben Kingsley. I bet basically his agent said, you should get into this novel writing too. And I have to say, I was not... I was wondering what you'd got me into at that point, Steve. Also, can I point out, there is no murder in this.
No.
So it can't call itself a whodunit. There is, however, a mystery in it for the reader to solve. And I know you haven't quite made it to the end. And I'll draw this in with the voices as well.
I have a confession to make. I did listen to it out of sequence, shall we say? Right.
So so every chapter begins with chapter 1, Gary. Chapter 2, the other main characters are, as you've got from that one, his girlfriend Emily, and the next door neighbour, the grumpy old lady called Grace. Each of those is read by a different person, but there's a fourth narrator. Played by Paul Whitehouse, comedy stalwart and legend, as referred to above in the fishing programme. But on his chapters, the narrator does not announce the name of the character they're playing. Have you worked out who Paul Whitehouse is playing in this?
No, I didn't.
Right.
I didn't.
Okay. I'm not going to give it away, but it was like an episode of Murder, She Wrote. There were little clues all along the way to who this person might be, and a couple of curveballs thrown in. And I managed to get it just as I think I was meant to. But yeah, the whodunit in this one is actually... what character is Paul Whitehouse playing? He's a narrator. He seems to know the characters involved, and the answer is brilliant. So I hate it when people do this thing where they say, "Oh, and one of the main characters was like the town as well." But genuinely, I've just come back from a trip to Brighton, and I think I stayed in the hotel that inspired this. So as you can see, I'm gradually warming to it. Here's a description of the hotel.
It's a big 5-storey Victorian stuccoed building painted a yellowy magnolia and nestled between two identically designed buildings. On the front of the hotel is a huge 5 metres tall, sliced in half, fiberglass avocado hanging from the old flagpole above the fancy columned entrance. It's the star of the show and was the talk of the town when it was first raised into position. I heard a rumour that it was originally designed for a movie about a group of allotment owners up north who saved the local community from an American oil company that wanted to frack for gas in their area. The movie had a lot of momentum behind it until some executive in the production office had the sudden realisation that the idea was shit.
Have you a Google facility where you are?
Standing by.
Yeah. Okay. Will you please have a look for me for Hotel Pelirocco? That's hotel, one word, Pelirocco, Pelirocco. And while you're doing that, I'll explain to you that I went to Brighton for a weekend break, Sunday afternoon, looking forward to coming home, and then got to the train station, and I think a couple of beers had been had at 6 p.m, and the boards on... you and I know a bit about transport news. When it says no trains till 10 p.m, you know that you need to get out of that station and get yourself in a hotel damn quick, because you're not going to be there. You're not getting on a train that evening, and you don't want the other people standing gormlessly in the concourse. There was surge pricing on the hotel. It went up from when we first Googled it, and then we actually booked our place there in the taxi. This hotel had leopard skin carpet on the staircase. It was in exactly one of those 5-story stucco houses. I went out and caught some fresh air on the bench opposite that has already been mentioned in this story. We stayed in the mod room. Brighton is famous for, amongst other things, the clashes between the mods and the rockers in the that inspired all sorts of literature. So we stayed in a room with giant targets on the wall. The bedside tables were the back ends of Vespa motorcycles as ridden by mods. The bathroom was bright orange, and the walls in our bedroom were purple. And now, have you been able to Google a look at the outside of that particular hotel?
Yes, their website is a really assault on the senses.
It is an assault on the senses. Staying in the rooms was an assault on the senses. In this book, the hotel, it's being opened as we listen, and each of the rooms is, a fruit is allocated. So there is the kiwi room. That looks like a kiwi fruit, including various bits. I think they give the furry bit on the outside is reflected in the fact they used the bristles from an outdoor broom on the wall to decorate it. There's a pear room, and again there's as we've heard, there's a 5-meter fiberglass avocado instead of a sign for the hotel up against all of those beautiful buildings that they have along the seafront in Brighton. So I just went, I've been to this madhouse. I went there. There was a lady with tattoos behind the bar. There were people coming in costume. And I thought, this has got to be part of the inspiration. And I think you can tell, Steve, that against my better judgment, I started enjoying it.
Oh, hang on. I think they've been given a bit of an advert here, haven't they? Is this a presenter read advert that we talked about? Because whenever I'm in Brighton, I stay at the Hotel Pelly with there's a chap laying in a hammock in one of the bedrooms. There's a bed that you've got a bit of a staircase going up to, which looks quite funky. And yes, there seems to be quite a sort of a red light district room there as well. Oh, this reminds me. This room. There's a room which is very red everything, if you know what I mean. And it reminds me of a family took my dad for his 75th birthday to Paris as a special treat, and we stayed in a hotel which is a former house of how best to say,
knocking shop.
Well, you put it better in the only way you could possibly put it there, Matt. But yes, and everything was red in there. Lovely place though, and the people were lovely. Obviously, it wasn't a functioning one; it'd been converted into a boutique hotel.
They're lovely people. The ladies were so friendly.
Lovely people. The tea and coffee making facilities left a lot to be desired, though. Yeah.
So the interesting thing is, suddenly I went, I've been to this madhouse hotel that isn't a Hilton or a Ramada Inn. By the way, we're not going to get we're not senior enough in the podcasting world to be allowed to read those dreadful ads that so many presenters are doing at the moment. But I have been practiced. I'm sure, like me, after an afternoon of liquid libation in pubs in seaside towns, you feel a little discombobulated and might want to have a lie down. That's why they've made... See, I'm working on it.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I mean, not that we'll ever need it.
Me, it's like... And you hear, Richard Osman and Rory Stewart on their podcast going, yeah, it's a really light browser attachment.
It certainly is. I mean, I really need a VPN. I don't know about you. I'm really into VPNs right now.
I don't wear light coloured trousers. You can't see me.
No, I have seen you. Anyway, needless irrelevant mystery. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Come on. We've done it. The book is great. The humour is there. About 5 minutes ago, before we went off on all those tangents, I played you the clip that described the hotel, which managed to include references to a 5 foot tall fiberglass half avocado, a shit film, and fracking by a large American oil company. It's how kind of dense the references are and how much they cross over. It's not a whodunit, as I said. It's more of a suspense idea. It's advertised on Amazon in the suspense genre as well.
Okay.
But for me, the bits of the story about applying for planning permission for the giant avocado and the actual story itself are of equal importance. The story's not really it, is it? It's the people and the humour. There's some violence. Are you ready for some violence, Steve?
Yeah, ship it in.
This is also a little bit of explainer. The story is in book one, which we haven't read. The character Gary stood up to some corrupt police officers. Book two, now the story continues and he's due to go to court, but some representatives of the corrupt police officers who are standing trial really want him not to do that, so they try and silence him. But again, the violence in this particular clip reflects the book as a whole and the experience.
I've got £10,000 in cash in this bag, and it's all yours if you come to the right decision. No bank records, no money trail, easy peasy, end of all the distress. Come on, Gary, take it. The alternative really isn't worth thinking about. No, I'm not ready to do that, I replied. I fucking knew it, barked Sequence. I retreated a few steps and he moved forward to maintain the distance. And look, I'm not saying I won't do it, I continued with my hands raised defensively and a hint of mouse in my voice. I'm just not ready for it yet, and if I ever did what you're asking, it wouldn't be for money. I actually thought you had more sense about you, Gary. You must realise that your refusal brings into play a whole new bag of options on my behalf, all of them deeply shit as far as you're concerned. I'm sorry. Before I could even think of my next move, the driver had stepped around me and forced my arms behind my back. I was too shocked to speak and my legs had turned to syrupy nonsense. I knew you wouldn't take cash, Gary, said Sequence. That's why I brought this. He reached inside the brown paper bag and pulled out a big clump of beef mince. He forced the meaty clod hard against my nose and mouth. Eat it! Eat it! He chanted, pressing it harder and harder into my face. Eat the fucking beef mince.
I love the use of the word clod.
Clod is exactly the word that stuck with me as well. The clod of meat.
Clod of meat. That's it right there.
Well, listen, look, this leads us naturally on to, does the audiobook bring anything to it? And as I said, there are four narrators: Bob Mortimer, Sally Phillips, Paul Whitehouse, and Julie Maisey. You can hear from that clip alone that it just breathes such life into what I imagine I'd struggle to read on the written page. I don't think I'd get as much out of it. And all four narrators are really good at what they do. We always say, in fact, I'm not going to say narrator anymore. We have a boundary on this show, and that is most people narrate, some people perform, and it's the highest compliment we can give a voice artist. And these guys, so Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse and Sally Phillips, all actors that I know of, they all really enjoy hamming it up. And also they do that really actory thing where they do impressions of each other because they have to read each other's speech during their chapters. And do you know what? I went looking for a review of the audiobook online, and I could only find reviews of the written book. And I think this is the bit where I'm going to wave my fist in the air and go, these people have put a lot of work into this. They have a lot of talent. It managed to bring me round, even though nothing happens apart from applying for planning permission for a giant avocado. And they breathe such life into the book, Steve. So as much as I was cursing you for the first hour, I suddenly realised I couldn't put it down. And the second time I started it, having solved the whodunit thing, the first chapter has just meant so much more. It was so different when you knew what the answer was. And I can also see lots of little clues in there that are clearly being dropped for more in the series. So I think there's more to come. And yeah, I loved it. I think you were the same, weren't you?
Absolutely. It was so accessible. I agree with you. It's breathed new life into the genre, actually, and it kind of needs the language that Bob Mortimer uses. These words that you're not necessarily expecting, particularly the nouns, and it incredible nouns. It was just so Bob Mortimer. I haven't heard anything like it before, and I'm really glad you like. So I think we're officially recommending this one, yeah?
I think we are. Look, the bit where you were talking to me last week about the way that lots of people in different countries are watching videos of Americans reacting to British comedy. I think if you handed an American this book in traditional pulped tree form, they would open it up and they wouldn't understand what on earth it was. You can almost hear, certainly for me, I can hear Bob Mortimer's voice, and that's what makes it complete. So anybody who's read the book hasn't got the full experience. This is definitely an upgrade.
Absolutely. We wrapping this one then? Should I do the stats?
Yeah. You do. I'm going to panic for a second. You tell us what we've just read.
You have been listening to a review of the Hotel Avocado, written by Bob Mortimer, narrated by Bob Mortimer, Sally Phillips, Paul Whitehouse and Julie Maisey. Comes in at 9 hours 20 minutes. It was only released on the 29th of August, so as we record, it's pretty hot off the, not the press obviously, but the speaker, by Simon & Schuster Audio UK as the publisher. So that means we're on to next week.
Steve?
Yeah?
You remember that meeting we had, the planning meeting on Monday?
You're not doing a gear change, are you?
No, I just... I
downloaded it.
I know we decided what we were going to read, but I forgot to write it down. Can you remember?
That's okay, I have all the details here. We are listening... You will be listening to Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwang.
Oh, yes.
Now, this is a book of utter lies and the ramifications therein. So it's had great reviews already. It's been out for a little while. Narrated by Helen, I think it's Laser or Laser. It's spelt laser, but who's called Laser? Sorry, Helen, if you are actually called Laser, apologies for that. But yes, that is next week's book. If you've read it, or indeed if you've read the Hotel Avocado or anything else, we're interested in what you're listening to right now and your thoughts therein. So hit us up on the socials, hashtag Audio Book Club, and also, if you wouldn't mind, and we don't like doing this, we had a discussion about this in the meeting as well. We don't like self-aggrandizing, but it turns out that if you do subscribe to us, there's more chances that more people will listen to these missives. So if you get a moment, hit that subscribe button and give us a rating. You can be brutal. It can be 1 star if you want. Fair play.
Just on the Yellowface thing, I have actually already read Yellowface, or listened to it. There are 2 versions out there. There's the one you can get through Audible, which is the standard full-length book, or there is also the one that I've done, which is a British institution called Book at Bedtime, which has been broadcast on terrestrial radio for hundreds of years over here, but you get it divided into 15-minute chapters over 10 days. So if you're new to the audiobook, or you haven't tried the BBC iPlayer, and you don't feel you can commit to the full-length book, but you want to have something to say, do have a listen to the version, and I will do my best to compare and contrast the experience of listening to the two of those next week.
Yeah, we'll throw it over to you. So if I think it's still on BBC Sounds, so if you want to listen to it via Book at Bedtime on BBC Sounds, then the huge, massive plug for the BBC, or the Audible version, which comes in at 8 hours, 38 minutes. Either way, let us know what you think. So that's Yellowface next week, right here on Audiobook Club, where we shall see you next week. Thanks, Matt.
Bye, love you.
Bye.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
At that moment, my squirrel friend appeared next to me at the base of a beech tree. "All right, mate," I whispered to myself. "You've got a sparkle in your eyes and a good high tail. Seems like things are going your way." "Oh, thanks, Gary," I replied on his behalf. "Well, I've met a new lady, and that always puts a spring in me step. There's nothing like a new romance to put lotion on your bones. Have you thought around that as much as you maybe should?" "No, I'm okay, I'm sorted, thanks." "Long distance love though, isn't it? Never easy. Maybe you should pack your bags, move in with her, and seal the deal. Have you thought around that as sufficiently as you should?" "Oh, don't you start. So how did you meet this new lady of yours?" I asked. "Oh, at a talent competition. She was stood balancing on top of a nut with just one leg while she sang a song about a ferry route or a fitness centre, something like that. It was hard to pick out the words because she had another couple of nuts wedged in her cheeks. Oh, but boy, she had a tail on her. Wide, plump and very heavily curved. I'm seeing her later today over by the bins. Be a fresh start for me, and that's a good thing to be happening."